Hello, my name is Nancy Staley, and thank you for taking the time to look at my internship portfolio presentation. Like I said, my name is Nancy Staley. I am the instrumental music teacher at Maya Angelou French Immersion School. I do teach 4th through 8th grade, band, and orchestra. I started my graduate work at Loyola University in 2014, and I am completing the Master's of Education in Educational Technology program. I used Wix to create my portfolio, so if you were to head to my portfolio, you would need to go to nancystaley.wixsite.com/portfolio, and you will be able to follow along as I guide you through my internship portfolio. The portfolio is divided pretty much into 3 sections. We have an internship, pre-internship portfolio, an internship portfolio, and then the reflections that you will see. So if we click on the pre-internship portfolio, you will see that that portfolio is divided into 3 sections: technology internship, assessment planning, and technology leadership. And there we will find the different standards that we met, the different ISTE standards that we met during our program through Loyola University. The first standard is for research, and the artifacts you will see listed that cover the standards needed are the research paper that I completed in the course titled Educational Innovation. We were allowed to select our own topics, and I was really interested in MOOCs, or the Massive Online Open Courses. And they're free, and they're accessible to anybody who is interested in learning. Another research artifact that I was able to complete during my tenure at Loyola was during one of our first courses. We had the chance to reflect on a dilemma that we may have in the classroom, period. We were then given an opportunity to research that dilemma, and you will find all of the artifacts highlighted in green on each of the sections. The integration of technology into the curriculum portion and the standards that are required there, I was able to meet these standards in 2 different ways. In our Intro to Educational Technology class, we had a group project that took us into the world full of biomes, which was cross-curricular with 5th grade math, science, and we were able to align standards with science, math, reading, and technology. The purpose of the assignment was we chose to incorporate a web quest and the smart board for the technology that we infused into it. In another class, our ET 610 class, was the first time that I was actually able to incorporate technology into instrumental music. I took a standard fingering chart that they would see, that they could use as a resource, which typically is just a picture that shows the fingers that are required to play certain notes that they need. And what I did was I made videos that also allowed students to see the fingers and hear what it should sound like. So if they used a QR code scanner, they would come up with a video that looked like this. is our low A sharp, also known as our B flat. We play that by doing our thumb, our first finger, and our pinky. And it should sound like this. This is our low A. This way students have an attainable tone and sound to reach when they are looking for these resources on how to play a note. Being a technology facilitator requires the ability to use technology resources, to find new resources, and to find ways to acquire new resources that are compatible with the standards used in the school. And some of the artifacts that I have are a funding paper that we wrote as a group in the Role of Technology Leader class. And the funding paper that we chose was for a one-to-one technology project. We found 6 grants that would allow us to implement a one-to-one technology program in the school. It allowed us to move on the SAMR and ACOT model. We progressed fairly easily with the one-to-one model when the technology was used properly. Also, the facilitation plan that I developed called From the Classroom to the Living Room provided several trainings for the increase of communication between the teacher, the student, and the parents. The goal of that professional development was to do exactly as the title had said. It was to increase communication from the classroom to the living room using Google Email, Remind, Edmodo, and ClassDojo. Managing the technology-rich classroom. Some of the artifacts that I have are our critical literacy project, which involved students being able to really discern and be dialectic readers when they are doing research. Some questions that came up was, is Wiki a good source for knowledge? And we did determine that if you knew how to find and back up your sources and where they came from, that it was a good starting point for research. Dealing with social, legal, and ethical issues, I co-wrote an issue paper that addressed the county's acceptable use policies and also took the time to update it. In this paper, you can see in the later portion of the paper, you will be able to see the adaptations that I have suggested for the county acceptable use policy. Technology is always changing, so we always need to be updating our policies to incorporate the new things. So you'll see all of the changes in red that we have suggested that they implement. A big one was cyberbullying. We didn't have an issue 5 years ago, really, with that, but it's a big thing now. All of those changes are in red. In our multimedia design in the classroom, telecollaboration was a new vocabulary word for me. With technology and social media growing fast, Twitter has been a great way to collaborate with many diverse leaders and other educators in the world. We were able to design and run a Twitter chat to incorporate diversity. For technology for diverse and special needs, we had an opportunity in our Universal Design for Learning class to take already made lessons and adapt them using our new UDL framework so that we could eliminate any barriers that students with special needs may have. For instructional design, I had a chance to really lay out a distance education program called From the Living Room to the Classroom. Some parts were met through Google Hangout, some were done asynchronously, and some were done synchronously. There was group work, individual work, a lot of self-reflection, and surveys for interests to really design the best facilitation plan for everybody's needs. The pre-internship portfolio was assessment planning, and the first standard and section dealt with assessment with technology. I was able to compile a list of tools and resources that the teachers can use in their various content areas to better apply assessments. And these tools included Socrative, Plickers, Actively Learn, Edpuzzle, Kahoot, and Formative. These tools are both summative and formative assessments. I use a lot of Kahoot in my classroom because of the data that it draws, and Kahoot allows you to export all of your data so you can see which subject areas the students are lacking the most. A portion of that would be the assessment of technology. And I was able to create a video that reinforced students and their practicing. This would allow them to assess their practicing techniques by demonstrating the steps that need to go through to have effective practice styles. And you can click on the video under the B section and the artifact there. One section of my portfolio is broken into two sections. You have the course reflections, which just takes a minute to describe the different courses that were required for this master's program, and my gatherings and my opinions on how it was, and also some key projects that we were able to complete. And that's the course reflections section. The other section that kind of ties together the internship portfolio is the internship reflections portion, and it just goes through some thoughts and some feedback that I had, that I was experiencing before, during, and after the internship. Reflection is a great tool that all teachers and facilitators should be using to continue to be the best that they can be. In the internship portfolio section, you will find the different ISTE standards that I met, and the artifacts, which again are all highlighted in green, that show that I have met the standards. The beginning of the internship, I sent out an integration survey to gather what needs might be at the school. It told me a lot about what interests the teachers had and where their knowledge was, or their lack of knowledge was. Some other artifacts that demonstrated that in-depth understanding as a facilitator, I created a reminder sheet for staff on how to log in during the park to start their sessions and to end their sessions properly. And I also created a how-to video for the IB coordinator on how to use Google Docs. So as you go through, you will be able to see the rest of the artifacts that show, all highlighted again in green, that I've met the standards required.